All right, I got 5:30, so we're going to call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. First thing on the agenda is citizens' concerns and petitions, and we have 3 people that have signed up to speak. First, I have Ernestine Ferris. Ernestine, if you'll come up to the microphone, please. I'll just remind all the speakers the limit is 3 minutes.
If I may, I'd like to share this with the councilor. That's the subject of my talk tonight.
Okay.
Good evening. The problem I'm going to discuss has bothered me a long time, but I just received this newspaper article from my friend from Victorville, California. I lived in Victorville for 26 years before moving to Independence in 2010. When I first moved to Victorville, it was a small high desert town similar to Independence and friendly people. Over the years, Victorville's population grew, and around 2000, street gangs and illegals from Los Angeles area began to move to the high desert due to lower housing costs. Then it began. Homes were allowed to deteriorate, yards littered with trash parked and junk vehicles and all other miscellaneous vehicles. Then the crime began and gunshots heard at night. By the time I left to Victorville, there was no longer the nice high desert I once knew, but the beginnings of a rundown town. The end result is the article I gave you. I fear that Independence is being allowed to deteriorate as homes are being allowed to run down, yards junked with trash parked and junk vehicles, and all sorts of recreation vehicles and trailers of various sizes. Yesterday, I drove around my surrounding neighborhood for just 10 minutes. And here are the few things that I wrote down. 1424 North 10th, junk and vehicles all over the yard. 104 North 11th, excessive debris on Hickory side of the residence and also in the street. It appears they are conducting some kind of recycling business from the residents. This has been going on for the 6 years I've been here. 601 West 11th, homeowners conducting daily business selling various items and stuff all over the yard, at least since I've lived there. It's doubtful that the city or state taxes are being collected or a city business license issued. 400 West Chestnut, boats parked in yard and street. I know there's an ordinance for parking vehicles in the yard. The only thing is you have to call and complain. We put our house up for sale and our neighbors began started parking their vehicles in their yards. Couldn't have that, so we reported it and we got a prompt response, I might ask. We appreciated it. But it created an unfair atmosphere afterwards. Ordinance should be enforced without us having to report a neighbor. If there isn't an ordinance for these other things I've discussed, there should be. I don't need to tell you all this lowers property values for those who live around it and would eventually destroy a neighborhood, and in Victorville's case, a town. I wouldn't want to live around this, and I don't think you do either. This is a problem that can't wait any longer, and I ask you to take action, correct action now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ernestine. Appreciate it. All right, number 2, Dan Barwick. Dan, 3 minutes, or she'll cut you off at the knees.
No worries. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dan Barwick, and I live at 510 East Maple Street with my wife and 2 children. I'm the president of ICC, although I'm not here to speak on behalf of the trustees. And although I'm a board member of the Chamber of Commerce and a past president, I'm not here to speak on behalf of that organization either. I'm just here to speak on behalf of my family as a person who lives here in Independence and who loves living here. I understand that the Commission is considering a tax increase for infrastructure improvements, and I know that a tax increase of any kind can be unpopular, so I wanted the Commission to know that my wife and I support this action. We moved here because we liked Independence 5 years ago, and to me, the city is even more beautiful and more livable now than it was 5 years ago. But any city has a great deal of infrastructure that no one sees, and yet contributes to the quality of our lives every day. Maintaining it and occasionally upgrading it is expensive and usually invisible, but it contributes mightily to the quality of life. To see this, just imagine what it would be like to go without even 24 hours without any one of the major utility or safety services that the city provides. I have watched the City Commission consider the budget proposal and budget issues both in person and online, and I'm satisfied they are carefully considering the difference between wants and needs and thoughtfully prioritizing items in the budget. I believe that the proposed increase supports items that are rightfully priorities in any city's budget, and so I support the increases. I thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, number 3. Louis, is Susie? Yes. Not yes, Susie.
I'm in the ballpark. Well, I won't be here very much. I'm Louis Susie, and I just have a couple of questions that I wanted to bring forward to everybody here. One was, where are we at on repairs concerning North Penn and Laurel Street? I know there were some core samples taken. It was a Kansas fiber optic company that was responsible for damage, so just curious as to where we are on that. My other question is the 4.6 mill levy that's being collected. What are the plans for that money? How is that going to be used? And then my third question is, and the only reason I remember this, I live out in that neighborhood, and it's a cul-de-sac, so I was always wondering how I was going to get out of my cul-de-sac to come in on North Penn headed south. And there was a plan at one time to improve Taylor to Rajah Road, make that a 2-lane to a 4-lane. That was a Kansas T-Work program, a project, and I believe that was funded at either 75-25 or 80-20. I remember reading about it in the Reporter, and the only reason I remember that is because I live in that vicinity. So my question is, what was the outcome of that meeting with KDOT officials? Is that on hold? Have we decided that that's not feasible? Just curious as to what's happened to that project. And that project would be maybe, taking a guess, maybe 18 months ago. Could have been 2 years ago. You know, I don't keep track of time that well. So those are questions I would like to address to the.
Okay.
And my other point I would like to make. I agree with what you had stated in an earlier meeting about the water plant, about the needs of it being probably the most critical issue that Independence faces. That, and the improvement at Peter Pan, especially with the medical health facilities going on there. Those are probably the top 2 items that probably need to be moved forward and addressed. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Louis. I think we don't answer questions during this session, but we'll try to get those questions answered for you. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of a cereal malt beverage license for Gunner's Tavern, 112 South 25th, Kevin Ford. Any discussion on that, or anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the cereal malt beverage license for Gunner's Tavern at 112 South 25th.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. 3-0 on that one. Next, we list the city licenses there for the week. I'm not going to go through those. Next, we have the consent agenda. Gentlemen, anything you want to pull off of there, A through E?
I'd like to remove item C.
All right. Anything else, Leonard?
That was
Right.
all.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items A, B, D, and E. We have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item C, consider setting the date of August 25th at 5:30 p.m. for a public hearing to consider adoption of the North Penn Neighborhood Revitalization Plan.
Looking back through our agendas, I couldn't find that we've been given the packet or the information about that area. I think the last time we discussed, we had looked at the possibility of making that a neighborhood revitalization district so that we could encourage development along there. But I couldn't find that we had actually brought it to review as a commission and discuss and have it explained to us. So I was wondering if we could table this tonight and maybe have it on the next agenda that we would
Sure, Commissioner, we worked on that. MAC helped quite a bit, and we did it at the request, primarily your request. And there's no real hurry on it, so we can pull it off till next meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Fine.
All right. Thanks, Leonard. Okay. Moving on to public hearings. So public hearing to consider condemnation of the following properties as dangerous and unsafe. We'll first open the public hearing for 601 South First Street. Welcome, Don.
Good evening. This property has been inspected. This has been property that I looked at. We had an appointment set. The owner did not keep the appointment, so I did an exterior inspection of the property. Doors and units are boarded up. There's no real way to exit the structure in case of a fire or emergency. There's a lot of debris, both visible inside the home, and the part of the structure is deteriorating and falling in. I find it very, very safe and would move to declare it unsafe.
You find it very unsafe, is that
Yes,
what
I
you're
do.
saying? Okay. Any questions, Leonard?
No,
Okay.
I agree, there are some
All right.
concerns.
Okay. So may I have a motion on that one?
Is the owner?
Is the owner present? All right. Go ahead, sorry.
I make a motion that we consider condemnation as dangerous and unsafe, 601 South First Street, 601 South First Street.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 3-0. So we close that public hearing and open a public hearing on 609 East Poplar Street.
Yes, I have looked at this property several times. I find it very dangerous and very unsafe. If you can see from the photo, part of the roof has collapsed on the north side and on the south side. Again, the owner was not present when I did my inspection, so all of my inspections have been from the outside, but I assume it has been that way for quite a while. If the roof is deteriorating and falling in, I don't know exactly what the full extent of the damage is to the interior, but you can see that there's damage to the foundation, damage to the exterior siding to suggest that framing's starting to fail inside. I do find this situation to be very dangerous and unsafe. Yeah, that probably is the picture that probably explains it more than anything else right there.
I understand this has been empty for years and years.
As far as I know,
No contact with the owner.
no, owner was not present in any of the last two inspections that
Do you know how long
I
the
did.
utilities have been shut off by any chance?
No, I don't. I am not aware of how long they have been
Seems to me
shut
like
off.
this has been sitting for a long time.
A long
Yeah.
time.
I find the situation to be very, very dangerous.
Leonard, any questions?
No.
Okay. All right. May I have a motion on that one?
Make a motion that we consider condemnation of the following of 609 East Popular as dangerous and unsafe.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, 3-0 on that one. Close that public hearing. Open the public hearing on 621 North 16th Street. Don?
Yeah, this is one that I've also looked at several times. It is very unsafe, and as a matter of fact, the owner has come in and obtained a demolition permit and is doing the demolition himself, is in the process of doing the demolition. I was able to visit that structure today and visit with him today. He does it in the evening and on the weekends when he has time, so we've set a hard timeline of things we would like to see. We would like for this to move along a little bit quicker, but he is moving towards getting this property removed. We'd like to at least extend this for another 30 days to allow him to do that.
So you're recommending we not take action on this one at this time?
Not at this time. He seems to be moving forward, and there are some things that he doesn't want to try to salvage out of the building, and he's working to do that, and he is working towards taking it down.
But even if we took action, he's still got plenty of time, right?
Yeah, he still has plenty of time.
I mean, it takes a long time before we actually move to the...
Right. So, and he is moving forward on it.
Make sure that he stays on his timeline.
Yeah.
But if we've already issued a permit for demolition, then that's got to follow through. So is it redundant to condemn it since he's already removing it.
Well, the problem you're gonna have is if he doesn't follow through the demolition, you're gonna start the process over again.
But with the demolition permit, he had to put up a cash
He does.
deposit guaranteeing that it will be removed.
Yes, he does.
So if he
He does have a
stops-
financial interest to make sure that he follows through on.
And
on
if
the
he
demo.
pulls off, I think, what is the demolition permit, 30 days?
It's 30 days, and he has asked for one extension already.
Okay. So at a point that it stops, we've got the money, so we can go ahead and not have to go through the process of condemnation and notification. We can just, at that time, notifying we're taking his bond and going to have it removed a lot quicker than following up with the bid process. So, I don't, in my opinion, we don't need to
Take further
condemn
action.
it. He's already going forward, already
Yeah.
got his money,
Right.
so we could act
Makes
upon
sense.
that.
You okay with that,
Jeff,
Fred?
yeah, I'd say, Jeff,
I mean, that's up to you all. I mean, that's the option you have.
that's fine.
Okay. So keep an eye on that one and bring it
We'll
back
keep
to
an eye
us
on
if
it.
we- Yeah.
Keep in regular contact with him.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we'll close that public hearing and open a public hearing on 625 North 16th.
Yes, this one is in a state of disrepair and neglect. Again, the appointment that we had set for inspection, the owner was not present at the inspection. So I was able to do an exterior examination of that. There is foundation damage on the west side of the property. The porch on the south side of the property is rotting. It needs to be repaired. The roof is in a state of desperately needing to be replaced. I'm not sure if it's leaking, but it's very bad. There's paint peeling on the surfaces. There's damage to the, as you can see here, the pipe, one of the fluid. So I can't see that the owner is taking any interest right now to maintain or repair the property. It would be our recommendation that we proceed as it being an unsafe property.
The second photo, it makes it look like there's a gas meter still hooked up. Is there a gas meter there? Any utilities hooked up? Isn't that a gas meter there over on
The
left?
electric is not hooked up.
Okay. All right. Any questions, gentlemen?
No.
Nope.
And the owner isn't present here tonight either?
No, not that I'm aware
Okay.
of. And I did not receive any contact from the owner after the date of the inspection either.
I'd like to move that we set a public hearing to consider condemnation of 625 North 16th as dangerous and unsafe.
Your motion's actually to condemn the property tonight. This is the public hearing.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Move that we condemn 625 North 16th as dangerous and unsafe.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 3-0 on that one. Close that public hearing and move on to the public hearing for 1016 West Cottonwood Street.
Yeah, this is a property that is unsafe at this time. However, I did meet with the bank, and the bank came out and we were able to get access to the interior of the property and inspect it. They have a prospective buyer in the neighborhood that may be interested in buying this property. They're trying to negotiate and work that out. We would ask that maybe there be a 60-day extension given for them to have the opportunity to work that out. And
So there's a mortgage on this one?
Yes.
yes.
And this one, we've talked about before, right? We directed this to be boarded up.
Yes,
because there
that
were
was
people-
boarded
there were
up.
people in and out of the house.
Yeah, the city boarded that up at your direction.
And you think it's worth saving, or there's potential to save it?
When we met, there was real interest in the property, both on the part of the buyer and on part of the bank to make it attractive
Okay.
to be able to sell.
What do you guys think on that?
I'm
Be nice
willing to adjourn the public hearing
Okay.
for whatever the building
Dawn decides.
inspectors.
Yeah, we'll
Timeline.
keep an eye on that and
Okay.
keep in contact with the bank
Yeah,
to
if it
see
can
where
be
we are in
saved,
the
that'd be-
process.
Yeah.
That'd be the goal.
Right.
Yes.
All right. We will adjourn that one until a future date, until you bring it back to us, Don.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Don. All right. I was asked next to swap G and H, I believe. Do H first.
Yeah, Mayor, we also need to have our executive session at 6:30 for a lawyer's
Oh.
schedule.
Okay.
Forgot to tell you.
6:30. Okay, you'll have to tell me again at 6:30. Thanks. All right. So item H, consider request to rezone attractive land from R1, large lot single-family dwelling district, to R4, medium density multifamily dwelling district, with a conditional use permit for nursing, convalescent, and rest home services at approximately 2120 North 13th Street.
On July 5th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing for this rezoning, and they recommended approving it with a conditional use permit. This is the notification area. It's roughly at 13th and Mulberry. And this is a site plan that shows the full 10 acres, but the part that they're looking at developing is closest to the intersection of 13th and Mulberry. And that's the color site plan. And the gentleman here is going to give you a little bit more information, so I'm going to skip through to the conditional use permit portion. This is in your packet as well. This is pretty traditional for conditional use permits that we do just to make sure that it is developed according to all the codes and any additional requirements that we wish to add regarding traffic and cleanliness as far as keeping the lot clean, those kind of things. These are the same ones that we have done pretty much in the past.
Okay.
And so their recommendation was unanimous to approve the rezoning with the conditional use permit.
Were there any neighbors present at the planning and zoning
Yes.
meeting?
The Stocktons were there. I believe their names Larry and Linda. And they were concerned about traffic, but they thought that the traffic was going to be coming in off of 11th Street, and they were upset that they had been told 16 years ago the city was going to pave that, and it hadn't happened. But this access is actually going to be off 13th and will not be off 11th Street. In fact, it's not even, they're not building this even adjacent to 11th Street, so it's a little, because 11th Street's going to be clear at the very top of that. And so it's quite a ways from that. So, but they still were concerned about the traffic with Jefferson School being there. And so the developer is aware of that.
Okay. Leonard, any other questions?
On the slide before this one, I believe.
Before or after this one?
No, the other way. The first one you showed.
This one?
What's the red square in the middle? Just doesn't relate, or?
Well, it doesn't really relate. What it is honestly, we have a new program, Pictometry, and I can do a 200-foot buffer from the property line so that I can send out my notification, and it exports it. And this tract was so big, it left a hole in the middle from the 200 feet because it's a 10-acre tract.
Okay.
So.
Well, I didn't.
But now you know.
If that was, okay.
A sinkhole square.
We're rezoning that whole tract, was the request.
The entire 10-acre tract, yes.
What's the plans for the remainder of the property?
As you can see here, they have 2 memory units they're looking at for another phase, and then I'm not sure what they're planning to do with what's remaining.
Okay.
I would anticipate it would be some type of housing.
Okay.
And single-family housing is allowed on a
Right.
multi-family tract. You can go that direction. You just can't go, more density. You can go less density.
Fred, any questions for you?
No.
All right.
It's a good
Are there-
project.
The developer present?
Yes, he is.
Would you like to share any other insight into the future development or plans for the remainder of the property?
Right, yes. Thank you very much for allowing me to attend tonight. My name is Scott Holder with Neighborhood Senior Living. Neighborhood Senior Living is a developer, owner, and operator of assisted living and memory care facilities throughout the state of Kansas. We currently own and operate 10 assisted living and memory care residents in 8 communities throughout the state of Kansas. And what we're asking to do is ask for the commission to change zoning at 13th and Mulberry, southeast corner, the 2120 North 13th Street. We're going to do this project in 3 phases. Kelly, if you would go back to that color site plan, please. Phase 1 would be a 22-suite assisted living residence. That project would be a total project value of approximately $3 million. That would bring in approximately 20 to 25 full-time equivalent jobs. Phase 2 would be the 12-suite memory care residence to the right of it, or to my right. That project would take off once the assisted living residence got established, and then phase 3 would be that third memory care residence. All together, all three phases would be approximately $6 million, would bring in approximately 35 full-time equivalent positions.
Timeline for those other two additions? Do you have anything in mind on that?
Timeline is hard to say.
Okay.
If everything went good, we could probably be under construction yet this year on the assisted living. We'd take about 8 months to build that one, and then we generally would give a little bit of time, maybe
Sure.
up to a year, for that to establish or to fill up before we went into the next one. But then again, if we've had residents before that have been full before we've even opened, so it would really dictate on how fast we filled up. But
Gotcha.
our intent is to do what we're seeing there. Of course, the short-term benefits of a project of this size with the construction-related employment, increased revenues to local restaurants, motels, gas stations. We would try and use local subs and vendors as much as possible. Our long-term benefits would be new jobs, over $1 million injected annually into the local economy. This would give the opportunity to retain seniors and their money, attract former community residents to return to Independence, attract new residents from surrounding areas, and we feel like this would be a very limited impact on the city infrastructure and services. Like I said, we own and operate 10 residents in 8 communities throughout the state of Kansas. Some of those other locations are Hoisington, Clay Center, Marysville, Belleville, Seneca, Basser, Chanute, and Fort Scott. We look forward to a long-lasting and mutual beneficial relationship, and we strive to meet the needs of the current, very deserving senior generation and many generations to follow. Any questions?
Your market research must indicate the memory center is a pretty good demand because you're essentially going to expand 2 units. How many units or spaces, rooms will be in each one of those? Because from what I understand, there is a real shortage of memory care.
Not just in Independence, in rural America in general. The need for memory care is there, and the access to memory care services is not there. Independence is no different. What we're proposing here is 22 suites of assisted living, and then 12 of memory care, and then another 12, so 24. And of course, we've got a lot of different floor plans. We can mix and match if we see that we open our first assisted living and then maybe there's more need for that than what we thought. We can go right into it. I mean, we have 10 acres to play with. But yeah, putting up basically 24 memory care suites, we have no doubt that we'll be able to fill those with what is here, or the need that is here.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
You're not planning any access to your property from 11th Street?
At this time, no. And to go along with the traffic issue, the main concern about that was between, school starts between 7 and 8. Not everyone comes right at the same time, but when it comes to a school letting out between 2 and 3, you have everybody that's released at that time. And that is something I've discussed with our operations staff. And, the people that are there, our staff members, they are there generally until the dinner time, which is about 5 o'clock. So between, our staff wouldn't be, turning over their shift until well after the 5 o'clock hour. And then our residents generally, a lot of them don't drive, but those that do would be doing most of their running around between the 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So I think that the 2 to 3 o'clock time period, I think we can work around adding to the traffic congestion in those areas. And I do have a video. Do we have time for a video? Is that something that would...
Is that
How long is the video?
It's about 5 minutes, but we don't have to play it if you guys would rather.
Is that more appropriate under H or G, or does it matter?
It's basically the same thing, so
Okay.
it doesn't matter. It's just a marketing video showing the
Sure.
interior and exterior of
Let's do
the
it.
residence. Would you mind? Thank you.
Will the sound work?
We'll see.
Whoa. Wow.
Where is this location?
This is computer generated.
This is Marysville, Kansas. You're actually going to see two different floor plans, a red scheme and a blue scheme. The red scheme is Marysville, Kansas. The blue scheme is Seneca, Kansas.
When you come into the building, we have two seating areas on our double-sided fireplace, and the residents really enjoy this area. In the summertime, they'll be sitting out here because they can get sun, and a lot of them like to read. And in the wintertime, we have the fireplace going, and they really enjoy sitting around with the fire going and visiting. It's a very popular area in the building.
I got to thinking I had to hire everything done inside and out, and so my friend here was here and she talked me into coming because she liked it. My family was real happy. They didn't have to worry about me at home, about myself. The activity director here keeps us pretty busy. She has nice entertainment coming in. Everything is just perfect.
We tend to have a full schedule for the residents, and we typically have an activity in the morning that could be an entertainment, or it could be somebody coming in from the library to read, or it could be a physical activity. Sometimes exercises as at 10, and sometimes it's in the afternoon. Dinner is a set time and everyone sits down together. It's a real social time for them, and you know, they do a lot of visiting at the table.
I'm glad that I came because I don't have to cook. And they do a lot of things for us too.
In the afternoon, we typically have some kind of activity scheduled for them. And those activities are at their choice. If they don't want to come to some specific activity, they don't have to. They can stay in their room, or they can go out with family, or whatever they want to do. It's all about resident choice. The bathroom door actually has a latch on it where you can push it in so that it can open either to the inside or the outside. It is very nice to be able to swing that door both directions to get in if they're needing assistance in the bathroom.
And I frequently have people ask me, how's your mom doing? How does she like living at Country Place? And it's really easy to say Mom is doing well and she is very happy.
I've never been sorry that I came. It's just beautiful, and the staff is so wonderful to me. In fact, they pamper me. The food is delicious, and they take care of me, and my room is cleaned, and I don't have to do the dishes. So I'm just a lady of leisure. Except I don't know how I keep so busy, but I do.
That's worth the money, just right there.
Do this one here. I've made I don't know how many of these. I wish I would have kept track, but I haven't. But I make these throws, and then I also make doilies. They help us great. I like everybody that works here. So that's about all I can't say any more good.
Those actors are real residents.
Paid
Just checking. Paid actors.
Well, I sure do appreciate that. And yes, those are our real residents. And, just to relate this back to home, we do have 2 locations in southeast Kansas, a 26-suite and an 8-suite, a 26-suite assisted living and an 8-suite memory care in Chanute, Kansas. Both those floor plans are full. We're busting at the seams on the memory care side. In Fort Scott, Kansas, we have a 12-suite memory care that we have opened at the March-ish, and we're about half full there. And then we have a 26-suite assisted living residence under construction that'll be open about the first of the year. So, any questions?
Yep.
You good?
No.
I'm good.
All right.
I thank you for your time.
Yep. Shall we move forward then?
So we need to approve.
The recommendation from the Planning Commission to rezone the property to R4, and also with the conditional uses that are recommended that were in your staff report.
And you're good with the conditional use requirements?
Yes, we reviewed them and we're good.
All right. Have you already got it written down where you can just read it back to us, or?
I can help you out with it.
Yeah, please.
I have a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation by adopting an ordinance to rezone the tract of land and adopting a resolution to issue a conditional use permit for approximately 2120 North 13th Street.
I knew she'd have it written down already.
Second.
Who made the motion?
You did.
I did. Okay, so moved. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Did you vote?
Aye.
Okay, 3-0 on that one. All right, now we're going to go back to G, which is a public hearing to consider adopting a resolution determining the advisability of issuing taxable industrial revenue bonds for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, furnishing, and equipping of an assisted living facility to be located in Independence, authorizing execution of related documents. Okay?
In regard to this item, in our discussions, staff discussions with the owner, I had told them that with the neighborhood revitalization areas that the commission is approving, that 5 years at no increase and 5 years at 50 would be, I'm confident would be of no problem for the commission. But they are requesting 10 years at 100%. So I just wanted to point that out.
100% meaning they will continue to pay
No.
taxes as if it's unimproved land.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. If you don't ask, you don't get, I guess. Gentlemen, thoughts on that?
Well, what
The
kind of?
5 for 100% and the 5 for 50%, of course, is better for the city, but I'm
Right.
not for sure. If that was a discussion between the owner and staff, would you like to address your request?
Hello. My name is Angela Booth. I'm also with Neighborhood Senior Living. Thank you for making additional time for us this evening. Neighborhood Senior Living and the entity Montgomery County Assisted Living LLC would like to respectfully request an IRB bond issuance in the amount of $6,610,000 in IRBs for the entire scope of the project. As we've discussed, we're starting with the 22-suite senior living residence. We have had a cost-benefit analysis prepared for the city from Steve Robb. The cost-benefit analysis is showing that normally a 1.3 ratio determined by the benefit to the community is enough to request and prove the benefit of the community for a new development. This ratio is coming in at 1.93. Therefore, we chose to move ahead to request what we have requested in the prior 2 southeastern Kansas developments that we've done, both in Chanute and Fort Scott, for 10 years, 100% abatement. I know that you have the cost-benefit analysis report in your packets. I don't know if you've had a chance to look through those, but given the job creation that we're proposing for not just Phase 1, but on through Phase 2 and Phase 3, as well as the increase in visitors to the community, and all of this is, you might want to read through on the last page. increase in not only job creation, but the new families that will bring to town, an increase in local personal incomes from $301,000 to $5,826,000, increase in local retail sales from almost $1.6 million to 3.6, almost 3.7 is pretty significant. And the increase in the community's property tax base from almost 1.9 over the next 10 years to 4.4. Therefore, because this cost-benefit analysis report is coming back so healthy, we thought that it would be wise to open the discussion with you, even though we know that your past practices have been 5 years, 100%, and then a reduction on year 6 through 10 for 50%. Maybe we could change that a little bit and do something a little bit different here, given that we're proposing all of these elements.
So earlier, you'd mentioned, or it was mentioned, that the initial phase 1 was going to be the 22 unit, and it was kind of vague on the schedule for phase 2 and phase 3. So what you're requesting is us to approve the IRB for the total project for phase 1, 2, and 3, and your abatement would then be for the whole 10 years. But when, I guess you're just going to draw money for the completed phase on the IRB. So I'm trying to get the logic of how this would work for the change for 100% for the 10 years. So then as it develops, say year 2 or year 3, you might do one other structure, one like phase 2, and then there might be another gap of a year or 2 before you did phase 3.
Correct. And again, as Scott mentioned, the timeline is a little open. However, we realize that a 10-year tax abatement on phase 1 and then going into another 10-year tax abatement on phase 2 and then another 10-year tax abatement on year 3, we're not talking about requesting a 30-year property tax abatement. We understand that would be unrealistic and not good for the city. If the city feels it prudent to put a time constraint on that, I would imagine, going off of historical performance on our developments, that if we were to move forward, when we move forward with either another senior living building, if that's what the market here in Independence is demanding, or if we move forward next with our newly designed 12-suite memory care residence, I would imagine it would happen within a 12-month period of time, either after construction has started on the senior living building or after the senior living building has stabilized. We can, work within the constraints that the city would mandate what's best for the city. Again, not asking for a 30-year property tax abatement, given that we're talking 3 phases. I think maybe something within the term of 5 years to have phase 2 and phase 3 at least under construction, if not completed and stabilized at that point, would be fair. Food for thought.
Our West Main revitalization plan, doesn't that allow 100% for 10 years?
Yes.
So commercial development and commercial, this is mainly, I think, viewed as a commercial project with the revenue that you're talking about being generated, instead of looking at just a house or something in that manner.
It will be a significant increase in our net assessment.
Say again.
When it's completed and on the tax rolls, it will be a significant increase in our net assessment. We're $50 million, and it'll be a 1.5–2% increase.
No, but we're
in current
proposing
values.
to make that 10 years down the road, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's a long
I
time.
could see it falling in line with the West Main revitalization plan, similar benefit that they're requesting for the 10-year abatement there. We're doing.
So what's been our past, for the sake of consistency, Mickey?
Well, our 5 years at 100 and 5 years at 50. That's what we've basically done with the neighborhood revitalizations, other than downtown, is what we've tried to make them all consistent, except for downtown. And that's what I had previously thought we were talking about with this group. But I didn't mean to infer that it didn't warrant longer than that, basically because of the impact and the fact that we need, from what I have been told from April and others, we need this type of a place for people to live. There's some of our people that have to leave town to get these facilities.
So the discussion that Leonard just brought up is that the West Main revitalization was 100% for 10 years? Is that
On new construction? No,
Yeah.
it was I think it's 5 years at 100 and 5 years at 50. I think the only place that we were different from that was downtown, on the downtown, that we made. And Aaron, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Hi.
Mac is the one that did the most work on those neighborhood revitalizations.
Yeah, your current plans are 100% for 5, 50% for 5 on new construction. On West Main, that's the same for renovation additions. The only difference from that is to encourage further development in the downtown. Rehab, renovation, addition is 100% 10 years downtown, and then 100% 75 on the 5-year split for new construction downtown. So downtown has the highest level of benefit, but everything else is pretty consistent at 100 for 5, 50 for 5 with the revitalization districts. But just speaking a little bit from an economic development perspective with this project, I think Scott and I first talked back in 2013, late. So this has been one that's been in development for a while, but I think now the timing, when you're looking at 25 jobs serving an assisted living facility on the heels of a hospital closure, and lots of those jobs being related fields, nurses, CNAs, CMAs, that sort of thing. That's a pretty significant job creation boost in a sector that's been hit hard this past year. So, and then Mickey alluded to the fact that whatever abatement you decide, once this does hit the property tax rolls, just based on appraisal value of some of their other properties in the $3.5 million range just for phase 1, that, as Mickey said, is about a 1.5 to 1 3/4. Full three phases could be over a 2% increase in the total tax base of the community from this one development. So whatever you decide, I think it's going to be well worth it, both in terms of job creation, payroll, tax base growth, and then keeping residents, our senior citizens of the community as they transition out of independent living into assisted, allowing them opportunities to stay local and in the community they love, I think is very needed as well. So.
Well, and while we were talking in our discussions about the 5 years at 100 and 5 years at 50, we did discuss the fact that that is what the commission has been doing on most of our neighborhood revitalization areas. And also, they pointed out they would like to get the same thing they got in the other communities in the region. Well, they just told me after I raised the question that Fort Scott and others had given them, as they said tonight, the full 10-year abatement. So I didn't mean to infer that they completely misled me. It's just that I just wanted the commission to know that what our discussions were, and that it was different from what my previous discussions with them.
That's a tough one for me. I like sticking with our plan.
Sure.
I can't see breaking out from our normal plan unless we have a really good reason to do so.
Yeah, and to their cost-benefit analysis, I haven't gone through it, but it was third-party prepared.
That was going to be a question, because these
Yeah.
numbers can be, numbers make liars.
Well, but in this scenario, at least, it was not prepared by myself or someone else, so it was, or themselves, it was done by a third party. So I think either way you go, seeing the development happens really the critical issue, whatever level you choose to support it at as far as abatement goes.
So is this based upon 10 years or 5 years? Is that Or is it just an independent based upon total benefit?
Is the
'Cause it would-
cost-benefit analysis based on 10 years? Is that your
Yes.
question? Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, I know what you're saying, that, you have a plan that has worked in the past, and you hate to deviate from that plan because it has worked in the past. I understand that. When we talk about job creation and the number 22 to 25 initial creation can rise to a job creation of 38. So it's an ongoing benefit to the community, not to mention that there are a lot of adult children who care for their senior parents. We forecast that at least 25% of our residents will come outside of the market trade area, which is not even necessarily just the county. So, and that's conservative, that percentage. So we are talking conceivably about new families, not just seniors moving into Independence, but their adult children will come with them too, because oftentimes they'll follow mom and dad. If they're transferred is great, or they can follow, if they can get mom or dad situated in a country place senior living community, then they'll find a way to find employment either directly in Independence or in the county. So there's that added benefit to that too. So again, back to Mr. Mayor, I know you're saying you don't like to deviate from the plan. However, this is a little bit of a different animal, and that's why we're asking for a deviation and special consideration in this particular case.
I appreciate that. Not just to be argumentative, although I do love to argue, but
okay, I'm ready.
The thing is, everybody that comes to us wants a special deal.
I understand.
And I hate to start breaking rules. And the fact is, when somebody says this is going to create 20 new jobs, those may be 20 people that come up from Bartlesville to work. We don't always necessarily get the benefit of the new employees. Again, I like the project, but I like it even better if you're paying some property taxes, frankly, without waiting 10 years for it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Another idea for consideration would be, we've talked about the neighborhood revitalization program. Maybe a combination of the neighborhood revitalization program as well as the IRB bond issuance. We have been known to do that too. So that might be a good way that we could compromise, possibly meet in the middle, so that it's not, say the first 5 years, 100% abatement, and then some type of an aggressive sliding scale in the following 5 years would be fair. That would be enough to concede to the city, and that would be enough for us to still make it work cash flow wise. Our residences are small. We're not talking about, a 200-bed facility. We're talking about a 22-suite facility. So it's important for us to have every component of the bottom line work for us so that we can make a difference in other areas. And the primary difference in that main area is wage requirements. We're seeing that in nursing and certified nurse aides and certified med aides and all of the staff that we want to hire, the quality individuals that we want to hire, it's hard for us to compete with towns that are very close, that like Bartlesville, that yes, they can commute and they can make a higher wage. Now, granted, commuting is expensive, which kind of goes back to the idea of how many people are going to commute in. Oftentimes, they don't commute from that far because there's an expense associated with it, and let's face it, that just cuts into their bottom line. So that's why we push so hard for the maximum amount of, property tax abatement that we can get in that initial 10 years, so that we can keep our cash flow as healthy as possible.
Is this actually located in one of the neighborhood revitalization districts? So
would that be something to consider?
Well,
yes.
No, if it's not in a revitalization district. So, I guess I kind of look at it as a commercial venture separate. We've helped some other businesses with the neighborhood revitalization plan, but since this isn't, I could see it as like a mini Cessna. We did it for Cessna for 10 years, and we've helped some of the other businesses with 10-year IRBs. So I would compare it with the numbers of employees and the potential for revenue coming into the city, compare it in that realm instead of a revitalization project. Mm-hmm. So I could see, looking at the 10-year abatement going on the the numbers that, yeah, and it was an independent study, so it's not some
Correct.
numbers that you're trying to
That's correct.
woo us with, that it is valid. And I don't know if you mentioned or Fred mentioned the loss in the healthcare business that we did, that it will really strengthen back that area in Independence. I know we've lost some of the jobs to the surrounding town, and it would be nice to be able to fill that gap here. And you know, the idea of families following mom and dad, that's the reality.
Exactly.
And you know, is it potential that you know, with our programs at the college, the entrepreneurship program, of maybe actually getting some support and other business growth. Growth in that's a gamble, but you know,
But still a viable possibility.
I see it's an opportunity to go out in the business market and help and maybe, you know, see that 22 bed full, and then look at bringing in the other 2 units a lot quicker too. And in the end, at 10 years, it would be better to help get all 3 phases done, and at 10 years get the tax revenue on all of it, than to look at holding back and only be able to accomplish one structure. But you know, it's a gamble either way. But you know, I could see the full 10 years based, looking at it as a business investment and not as a revitalization of a neighborhood, because it is undeveloped land. It's sat undeveloped for a number of years. The developments have spread elsewhere, so it would strengthen that neighborhood with maintenance of streets, some trees, some landscaping, mowing. You know, it would really aesthetically help that area. And then on 11th Street, maybe work out something with getting that paved in the future too.
Okay. Tough one. This is a tough one for me too. The consistency part is, of course, I'm big on that.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what we did for their competitors back when those were put.
Well, and that's what the question I was going to ask for Mickey. Do we have any history, past history? Can you think of any?
We haven't had any past history in the last 6 years. Kelly, you remember any?
And so that the public knows, these IRBs, there's no responsibility by the city for repayment, correct?
Correct.
So that would be, there's no taxpayer exposure
Correct.
in case there's a default or anything. So there's no risk for us. So the decision truly is based upon the 10-year tax abatement.
The closest thing that we've done is that nursing home. We did
Medical lodges down the street
medical
from us.
lodges.
Mhm.
And was that
There was special consideration given to that,
yeah, there
wasn't
was.
there,
It was
Sarah?
IRBs.
IRBs.
And I couldn't tell you. Can't recall. Can you, Kelly?
Aaron can recall.
Yeah, there he is.
On that one, they were acquiring that property from another entity, and if I remember correctly, it was a private placement IRB that they issued the IRB and basically asked that the city keep the value the same for 10 years, so that the value of the purchase price above the value of the assets wasn't figured into the appraisal of that property.
So it's basically the same
But-
thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think they acquired and did some renovations, so it basically capped it at the pre-acquisition value moving forward.
I remember that.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
That's good information.
All right, are we ready for a motion on this then?
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the request and issue a resolution for issuing IRBs.
Excuse me,
Honorable Mayor, you are still in a public hearing. I'm Sarah Steele with Gilmore and Bell. We are bond counsel to the City of Independence.
Yeah.
You're still in a public hearing on this matter, so we probably need to make sure that there's no one from the public to speak.
All right.
And then you can close your public hearing and take action. I
We're-
apologize for interrupting.
No, we're glad you're here to do that.
Thank you.
That would have been, oops. So,
Yes.
anybody?
Is there any public input? All right. All right, so we will close the public hearing. Hearing none, close the public hearing. Thank you for that reminder.
And I might just also add on the previous discussion that the resolution you have before you is not determinative of the 10 years. We do need a determination at some point so that I may draft the documents appropriately. But the resolution you do have before you is simply an expression of your intent to issue industrial revenue bonds for this project. They will receive an exemption from sales tax on the materials going into the project. And then the property tax issue will need to be decided by the commission so that we may draft the appropriate documents. But you are not locked into a full 10-year, 100% abatement by action this evening.
When will that decision have to be made? Before you do the...
Fairly
final
quickly.
document? But they'll have
Before
to do
we
it
do
in
the
a, we'll have to do it before you do the documents.
Correct. Thank you.
Unless you're prepared to make that decision this evening.
Sorry.
Unless you're prepared to make that decision this evening, of course, we do not want to stalemate that. And if you have any additional questions for us, we're happy to answer them.
Okay.
So Leonard, you made your motion. What is the motion?
Yeah, read it back.
I have a motion to adopt a resolution of the City of Independence to issue taxable industrial revenue bonds.
Okay.
Is that adequate?
So do we need, can we address the percentage or of the years in the same motion or?
Yes.
Okay, then I would like to, might as well get it all out of the way.
Let's do it.
I'd like to add to the motion that the exemption extend for a 10-year period. Does that cover it? At 100%.
100% for 10 years. Would you mind reading that back again?
I have a motion to adopt a resolution of the City of Independence determining to issue taxable industrial revenue bonds for an exemption extending out a 10-year period at 100%.
Okay.
And I'd second that motion.
All right.
The concern that I had was I knew we had done something with Windsor and I couldn't remember. That's why the consistency part is a big deal to me. So, and since this is not your idea about a combination revitalization, I thought was worth merit. It had some merit to it, but it's not a revitalization zone. So that's why I second it. So,
all right.
just so you know.
So all in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, 3-0 on that one. 6:30. Oh.
Yeah, we got to go.
All right. How long do we need?
30 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry.
So we're going to go into executive session for 30 minutes for
Non-elected personnel?
Non-elected personnel.
non-elected personnel. All right, we'll be back.
And
Second
who is-
motion, we go into executive session for 30 minutes, discuss non-elected personnel, protect privacy on.
I just need to know who's going in after we have it approved. Was there a second?
Second. And who all is,
I've got Dave Kelly, Commission. David Cooper by phone?
I think we need
And
to
then
read
David
the
Cooper
list.
by phone.
Okay, I'm sorry, was there a vote?
Aye.
all in favor, please say aye. Aye. And the list again of who's going to be in there?
I have Mickey Kelly, Dave Cowan, Commissioners, David Cooper by phone. Was there anyone else? Jeff Gettler?
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so where shall we resume? We took care of
Item I.
I. We took care of G and H.
Fire damage structure.
All right, thank you. All right. We're going on with item I. Consider setting the date of September 22nd, 2016 at 5:30 PM for a public hearing to consider condemnation of a fire damage structure located at 510 South 4th. Don, are you going to talk to us about this one?
Yeah, this is an insured structure, so I think I feel confident with the insurance company that they'll be able to start repairs, but we do want to have it on our radar in case there are no repairs.
Wow. Okay. Have you been inside?
Yes.
Is the damage pretty extensive?
In the dining room area, yes. There is quite a bit of damage there.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
I make a motion that we set the date for the public hearing of September 22nd, 2016 at 5:30 PM for review of structure located at 510 South 4th Street.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, 3-0. And then structure located at 624 North 17th.
Yes.
That's also in item I.
This property is overgrown. You can see there's quite a bit of debris inside the house. I think there was a potential buyer for this. There's no longer a buyer at this time, so I think this has been in this state for a number of years. So
we talked about this with you previously.
Yes.
So
yes. So
okay. Any questions for Dawn, gentlemen?
No.
No, it's time to.
All right. May I have a motion?
Go ahead.
All right. I move that we set the date of September 22nd, 2016 at 5:30 PM for a public hearing to consider condemnation of the structure located at 624 North 17th Street.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks again, Don. Okay, item J, consider request to donate 201 East Main Street to the city.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
This gentleman has contacted the cities multiple times, got a hold of me wanting to donate. I referred him to Jeff Chubb, and I'm sure Jeff's maybe ready to. You have any from
well,
what?
I can chime in. I can just tell you what Jeff Chubb reported to me, and he's been in contact with the attorney for the trust that owns the building. And one solution they had was to donate the property to the city. It's our recommendation as city attorney, you don't accept it. I don't know the city has anything to gain by having it. Mr. Chubb advised the attorney that there were some different options as far as the demolition, and it might be possible, and I think that Mr. Clapp, if he's here, might possibly be able to address one possible solution for the demolition of it, if that's the route the city wants to take. That doesn't require taking on the whole building. But as far as the receiving it as a donation, I don't think it's a wise idea.
When we talked about this one last time, after the meeting, a gentleman that lives in town approached me, came in my office and said, I'd love to own that building.
Yeah.
And he said he called the owner. I gave him his name and number, and he said the guy was demanding $350,000, which is insane. So
Jack, and
why the turnaround?
May have said this to Jeff. They have no interest anymore. They were going through the process to get the building taken out.
Wait, who's they now? The owner?
The owner.
Okay.
And in fact, worked with the building inspector. We had contractors contacting us, the asbestos, all that. All of a sudden, they had a change of heart. Not interested anymore. You got a dying town.
So they
and he said, if the city won't take it, I'm going to give it to this guy for $1. And my reply back to him is, I don't think the gentleman has the means, and he's going to be in front of our commission soon with the same problem. All you're doing is, and he's
the same guy that came to me. You're saying?
I assume
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So.
Well, I think it's obvious that we don't want to take it. I mean,
No, we don't want the building.
no.
No,
Not
we don't
inherit the expense for
need
doing
to own property.
So that's all we're really voting on tonight. Okay. Do we want to make a motion to?
I'd make a motion that we reject the donation of 201 East Main Street to the city.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, wow, it's quite a list. You're gonna get tired, Don.
Yes. Done my exercises so I can stand up here for the appropriate length of time.
Okay.
This is the building that we just talked about.
Right.
We do have some correspondence on this stating that the State Historical Commission has said that we cannot do anything with demolition until we've explored some options on this, and so that's where we are right now.
Right now, there's only a small section of back addition that's collapsed. The main portion of the roof is still standing. Is there the possibility of doing partial demolition of just the damaged area, or actually then repairing that portion and comparing the cost to repair the portion that's bad and then put it onto the tax roll? I think by the ordinance we have the two options. But to tear down the whole building, we could spare a lot of expense in just addressing that, what is it, about 15 by 20 addition on that corner?
Yeah, Sean, would have more information on that.
We actually had Patrick Stewart come do an inspection on it. It is possible to remove, that damaged section. We would have to do some additional bracing up against a couple of the walls, but projections are about $80,000 to $100,000 to do that partial demolition and reconstruction in that area. So. But it is possible. I mean, it's a small area. I mean, you look down on that. It's just the framing for that section of the building. So I mean, it can be done. So there is an option on the table rather than taking the whole building down, and that's specifically what the state's wanting done, is to explore all the options before we decide just to knock it down. And on another note, we had our historic meeting, which I'm on that committee. And we did discuss this at that committee meeting on Tuesday, and it was voted on it was a 3-2 vote.
Split decision there.
Yeah, it was almost just a split decision. It almost was a push to support the state's recommendation of denying a demolition permit until all options are explored. So. Ultimately, the city commission can vote to override that, but by state statute, from what the historical society's claiming is, the commission has to review all the other options that were explored. So, at this point in time, I'm not aware of the owner exploring, the option of just partial. I think it's just get rid of it or complete demolition.
Their letter says that we have to show that there's no feasible and prudent alternative to bringing it down.
Which I could imagine that they would probably accept the idea of taking out that portion of the building. The only other area that it fronts is the Carnegie Library, but it's also at the back of the building and on an alley closer to the AT&T building, and its current state right now on that back side, you really, with the amount of vegetation growing in there, you really can't see the building. And quite frankly, I'm almost of the opinion that if you take the vegetation out, the wall might just go ahead and fall over. I think the vegetative growth is structural at this point in time. So, I mean, I think a feasible alternative would be just to take that portion out. I mean, there will have to be some roofing repair done in those areas, and like I said, reinforcing of that wall, but.
Well, can we table it until we get the other options to look at?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we can table it, but it's taking money to do it, and the owner's not gonna put any money in it.
Right.
I mean, that's just a fact.
He has contacted a contractor to go in and look at repairs.
They're pretty much come up.
They pretty much come up that it's not feasible for them to do repairs.
He initially thought it was going to be like a $10,000 to $15,000
Wow.
repair on the roof. I was like, there's no way.
Oh my gosh.
That might be the roofing, the roofing cost for it, but you still have to redo the entire roof structure in that area. So.
Okay, so what other alternatives do we want to explore so that we can say we've
Well, I
explored
thought-
alternatives?
Well, the Historic Commission would,
Well,
that's their purpose, to look at the options and then come back with us.
The owner and the commission actually have to work together on that, and discuss prudent alternatives. So,
And as you said, some of the people on our Historic Building Commission said, bulldoze it now.
yeah, and
Even if you pour it out,
quite honestly,
So the 3-2 vote was to,
what two were in
Two said-
going to the direction of it just needs to be tore down.
Yeah, it's not worth saving.
It's not worth saving. And the other three were, there's got to be another option. Because what happens once it's tore down?
Right.
And that is ultimately the question: is what is going to happen with that property once the building is tore down?
Yeah.
And additionally, what's going to happen to the remaining buildings on that property? I know there's been some discussion on, what's the liability with the remaining buildings and whatnot. So, I mean, that is out there, that you are going to have basically a wall remaining that's not a weatherproof wall. So how's that going to affect the remaining properties right there? And who's liable for that?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's not the property owner's responsibility to do that.
No. It's the other property owner's responsibility to
protect
enclose
their wall.
it. So, I mean,
That'll be a
there's
kicking
case
seat
law
for them.
for that. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
supposedly as long as we give them the proper notice that it's coming down, that there's no liability to that property owner or the city, that wall will be left exposed.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, that's law.
Other places downtown, they've gone with EFS in some cases, or
just
a
left it
sealer.
exposed. I mean,
Yeah.
the problem you get there is it's that masonry that'll be left exposed wasn't meant to be
Right.
exposed in that fashion. So it will take on water over time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the problem migrates to the rest of the block, because that owner doesn't have the money to weatherproof the outside of the wall that's now exposed.
Exactly.
So then we end up taking his building down to go to the next building until we get to the old telephone office, because there's an alley.
Yeah, exactly.
Between, yeah.
I mean, and that is a very real possibility on that block, with the condition of some of those structures back there. Just to gain access onto the roof, we had to use another property stair. Just like walk to the left side, because if you walk on the right, you're going to fall through the steps. So it's they're not all in great condition on that block.
All right.
so the recommendation is to let different options be brought to us.
I think the best solution is allow us to come up with some solutions, submit it to the property owner, run him up the flagpole, see what he thinks. If he puts a thumbs down on it, then we can come back to you and tell you these are what we offered him. He didn't like them, or he said or he chooses to do one of the other options, then we can go forward.
I think we ought to have Jeff working with us on that, because before he was going to walk, and Jeff made gave him some of the ideas of things that this commission could do to force him to take action. And that's when he got and looked at alternatives. So I think we ought to keep Jeff
Chubb
working with us
Oh.
on that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. Maybe the newspaper could help us promote this great building downtown, find a buyer for it today. The price is right.
It's already got an opening for a skylight.
A big one, really big.
Just saying.
One. Okay, 208 West Walnut.
This was a property that went out to inspect. The owner was not at the appointment, but there has been work done on it. We are reminding him that he has an additional 60 days to complete the repairs that we have, but we're
Have you been inside that one yet?
not yet.
Okay. He
But,
certainly put on the new siding and
right.
stuff. I mean, it looks a lot better than it did. but-
Right. So we'd like to go forward with another additional 60 days on that.
Okay. Gentlemen, that okay with you? All right.
If I may, I might add, this gentleman and family has taken over his properties, and this, I believe, is going up for auction. They are going to be disposing of
His family is taking over his properties.
because of health
There's
issues.
some issues.
Okay.
And so they're going to be disposing of his assets, and I believe this one's coming up for auction soon.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks, April. Okay. 300 South 14th.
Yes, there has been some work on this property in the last week and a half. There's been some painting on the exterior, some cleaning up of the yard. I've spoke to the person that's going to be doing the repairs, heading it up for the family, and they've agreed to meet the timeline. We'd like to extend it for 60 days for them to have an opportunity to continue with the repairs that they're starting.
I hate to be a cynic, but are they just slapping paint over bad siding there? It still looks pretty rough to me.
Portions of it was power washed, and we've discussed the need to. There are some serious concerns about this property, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We do want to give them 60 days to show that they are going to do it. We've expressed some concerns, having been inside the property with some of the structural elements, but we do want to try to give them another 60 days
Okay.
to see if they're willing to do that.
All right. Leonard, that okay with you?
I'm good.
All right. All right. 605 North 16th.
Yes, this property is working. It doesn't look like it from the outside, but there is work done on the inside. It has been totally demoed on the inside. He has done some framing work on the inside. It continues to do some framing work. We're pleased with the efforts that he's done, and he's meeting the timelines that we've set, and we'd like to review this in the next in the next 60 days.
Is it weatherproofed?
Portions of it are. He's working on getting, there's one area on the north side that isn't, but he's working on getting that weatherproofed to protect the work that he's doing inside.
Yeah. Okay. Okay with you?
I'm okay with it.
All right. 821 East Maple.
Yes, this was an inspection that the proper owner was not present at the inspection. We have some issues there. We've notified him that he's got another 60 days to start working on that. If not, then we will make a different recommendation to the commission. But we'd like to ask for an additional 60 days for him to complete the timelines that he's agreed to.
So you were able to talk to the owner and he's aware, or?
We've sent a letter to him stating that we need to do that, but I have not been contacted by him personally.
How old are these photos?
These photos should have been on the 11th of July,
Hmm.
the 11th or the 12th, I believe.
I think he's done some work just lately.
He has not contacted me if he has.
Okay.
And I've not been out there since the original date of the inspection.
All right. Okay, so you'll bring that one back again also?
Yes.
Okay. 914 North 6th.
Yes, I was able to meet with this individual today. He was not at the original inspection. I had some concerns, but was able to meet with him today and see that he has done some work inside in the kitchen. I've expressed my concern about the condition of the exterior, notably the debris in the yard, so we've reached an agreement that will be rectified and taken care of. So we'd like to revisit this in 60 days as well.
I see again a gas meter on that one. It almost makes it look like they've been heating it.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. It was my understanding that there is no electricity there.
Okay.
So,
Surprised they'd be paying a gas bill then.
yeah.
Okay. Leonard, anything on that one?
No.
All right. 921 East Hill?
Yeah, we're very pleased with the work that's been going forward on this. Property has met the timeline. I think we're nearing, sometime in the near future, we're nearing the point where this should be totally completed. So we're very pleased with the work that he's doing.
Yeah, it looked like he's really busted his butt on that
Yeah,
one.
so
Looks good.
we're
New
happy
drywall and-
we're happy to revisit this in 60 days.
Yeah, great. 1013 East Hill?
Yes, we would like to recommend that we proceed with a hearing for condemnation on this property. I've looked at it a couple of times. I can't
Yeah.
see any work that's being done.
Right. We've talked about it several times already.
I mean, demolition, yes, sorry. Yeah, so I can't see any work having been done on it. It kind of concerns me, the condition of the property. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah. You guys, any comments on that?
We've looked at it a lot of times
Yeah.
and talked it over.
Yeah, I'm good with
So
it.
And the expectations have been known.
Yes.
They've been clearly stated, so.
I have confirmation that our letter has been received. I'm not sure if the property owner is here tonight or not.
Well, this is one that changed hands, didn't it?
Yes.
It was,
Yes.
one time we saw it when one person owned it, the next time somebody
Yeah,
else
so
owned it.
this
and
Yeah.
letter
it's
that
kinda
was
passed
addressed to
off.
the new owner was,
That's right.
certified letter was received. We have confirmation, but I'm not sure if they're with us tonight.
I would say no.
We've also received numerous complaints from the neighbors of
Yeah, I've heard about this one too.
community members going in and using
Yeah.
Yeah.
People in there at night and things.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that people are using this property most likely without anybody's consent.
For unsavory purposes. Is that what
I
you
would
wanted to say?
assume.
Depends which
So is-
side of the saver you're on.
So does that mean we can, do we need to make a motion on that one too?
We would need a motion to authorize staff to set a date for removal.
Yeah. I'd make a motion that we proceed with removal of this property of 1013 East Hill.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 3-0 on that one. Okay. 1201 West Laurel?
Been a lot of work done on this property. We're pleased with the work done to date. Due to illness, we're not able to meet the timeline, but we are very pleased with the work that's been done to date. We would like to, we've reiterated the timelines that we have and the expectations that we have. And
This was the fire damaged one.
right,
Yeah,
and we'd
looks
like to
great.
revisit this in 60 days, but we are pleased with what's been done to date.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
It does. It's really good.
All right, good. Good news. 1328 Irving?
Yes, work has been done on this. The timeline has been met. We're happy with the work that's going forward, and we don't have any reason to be concerned at this point that it won't continue that way. So we would like to revisit this in 60 days.
All righty.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. 2905 Regency?
Yes, a lot of work done there. Recently, if you've driven by, you see that they've been doing quite a bit of work. So even with the weather and the way that it's been, we're very pleased with the work that's going forward and very confident that it will continue and end up being a really nice project.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, it's a beauty.
It is.
Okay, great news. All right. Thank you for all those, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, item L. Consider bids received for removal of the following previously condemned properties. Any discussion on that?
I would just like to point out that 605 North 16th, which we just reviewed and gave 60 days, was on this list. That property was actually authorized for removal at the end of 2014, and with the ownership change, it still went out for bid as it should have. However, I would recommend that we do not award the bid on that one, since we just gave the owner 60 days.
Which one was that?
605 North 16th. The
Don
owner-
said they were making progress.
The current owner was not aware that this had already been authorized for removal when he took over the property. I don't think that was shared with him, the transaction.
Of course not.
So since we just gave him
Never
60
is.
days, we do want to award that
Yeah,
bid.
this one.
Oh, we said it was coming along good.
Yeah, that's what Don said.
Okay.
All right.
So, but other than that, there's really no commentary. We can award the remaining bids to the lowest bidder.
So the first 5 on the list,
Yes.
we could go ahead and award to the low bidder? Is that okay
Yeah,
with you?
I'm good with that, yeah.
Leonard? All right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
So how do we want to word that?
I'd make a motion that we approve the bids for removal of 825 East Maple, 1309 West Cottonwood, 308 North 5th, 812 West Cottonwood, and 805 North 21st.
To the low bidder?
To the low bidder. And
Okay. I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 3-0 on that one. Okay. M, consider proposals for a facilitator for the Citizens Committee.
Yes, we said last meeting we would have at least 3. We've got 5 proposals. All of these companies were recommended by someone in the state, and all of them have done good work in the past. Just a matter of which firm the commission wants to use for the facilitation. I think they're all quality companies.
Seems like the proposals vary quite a bit, how they picture their assignment.
Yes, they did.
Well, I know this would take us some time, but it'd be nice to have them come and present, let us ask questions, and,
Before choosing?
yeah, before choosing,
You want
'cause,
to pare it down any?
well, no. I mean, I think they all bring something to the table that could be very valuable to us. You know, I do think that during those presentations, it becomes clear who would be a good fit for us.
Yeah, I could
And-
see. I
And
could see that,
citizens,
too.
yeah.
That with the options or the different interpretation of the request for proposal and then what they responded, I could see some benefits
Yeah.
to going other directions than maybe we initially talked, or maybe even coming up with additional ideas on how to pursue our solution.
I like that
So-
idea. Yeah.
You know, I would be in favor of scheduling presentations from all presenters that are interested.
If they want to present, sometimes they'll call themselves out because of,
So you said we've got 5?
yeah. So we could schedule.
2 of them came in late.
Yeah.
Yeah, what parameters would you want us to give them to set this up? I mean, do you want to set a certain time limit? I mean, how would you like to do that?
Yes.
Normally, when I've been involved with state interviews, each firm is given a time limit. And, you know, that's pretty much up to us what we
Yes.
set for that. And it's, you've got so many minutes to present, and then
questions and answers.
you allow a
Right.
set time for questions
But
and
what
answers.
time limit were you thinking, so we kind of have some direction?
What?
30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes for presentation, the rest for question answer.
So 20 minutes for presentation, 10 minutes for questions?
I'd go
Or 30
15,
minutes?
15.
15 and 15?
Yeah. The
Okay.
questions are going to be more
Yeah.
critical than their presentation. You know, if you
Okay.
go shorter on the presentation and longer on the questions, or at least
Then you want
15, 15.
Then you want to do about a 15-minute break between if we do more than one at one time, or?
No, I don't.
No, one, and you'd have a
5 or 10.
5-minute break.
Are you
So-
thinking an evening or during the day?
It's going to be 2.5
Well,
hours.
just, you've got to remember, you've got all these different, these groups are coming from different areas. You know, I mean, I think you're not going to be able to do it probably all at one time unless you're wanting to dedicate a day to it. But just so that we know, because it's going to be hard to get everybody's schedules coordinated. I don't know if you want to maybe send me your availability and I could go from there.
You want
You want to try for an evening? It's going to be a long evening.
Well, we could start it a little earlier. We could start at 4:30 possibly.
You know, we could do 2 or 3 in a day and 2 in an evening. It wouldn't have to be all the same day even. You know, like start.
It just can't be the next 2 weeks.
Well, it probably would take at least that long to get them scheduled anyway.
Right.
So I'll send some dates out to you to see your availability before I try to contact them. Will that work?
That's fine.
Okay.
Also, in a related item, the city staff is recommending that the city commission authorize us to relocate city staff from the city hall to the building D on a temporary location basis, based on the advice of our city physician, Dr. Charles Empson, and our legal counsel for personnel matters. We've had several employees that have reported illness they believe to be potentially related to their working environment. The relocation we have a plan for that relocation, and we are making that recommendation out of an abundance of caution. But our first priority in public life is to take care of our employees and our citizens. And so I make that recommendation to the City Commission.
What's that timeline look like, Mickey?
As soon as possible, which would be most people back from the building within the next 2 weeks. And our 911 system, because of the infrastructure that is already in that building, we should be able to move that over within the next 6 weeks. But we've got a plan for a trailer to use for that 6-week period.
The 911 trailer?
The 911 trailer.
And that'd be located where, Mickey?
At the Building D, the hospital building.
Any idea on budget for this move at this point?
Our estimate is somewhere between $750,000 and $850,000.
To move?
To move.
And relocate the 911 center.
Abundance of that goes to the 911 center because of the communication requirement?
Yes, as far as the improvements over there, we will do just the minimum based on whatever we have to do for temporary location. And then we'll be able to get everyone out of the building and be able to evaluate the building and make whatever improvements is determined.
Wow. That is a staggering sum of money to move.
And it's
6
mainly
blocks.
because of the 911 system?
Yes. And public safety. And the fire department, the fire bays. That's the significant.
I don't have all the exact numbers in front of me, but just the cost of the move was estimated at $150,000, and that's to pay a company to pick us up on a Friday night and move us to be set up for Monday morning. But you have to remember that our apparatus bays are in City Hall, and if you evacuate City Hall, you have to somewhere to put those apparatus, and the cost of the apparatus bay, a temporary building at City Hall, was estimated at $225,000 over at Building D. I mean, so it's not like it's $800,000 picking up and moving everything over there. There's some significant costs with this move because of the quickness of it. $225,000 just for the bays.
Now, where is there's $700,000 to $800,000 in the budget? I noticed looking at the electrical, our budget for operating the building keeps expanding. When you look at the electrical expense, you know, if you just use June for an average, we're looking, instead of $84,000 for the year electric, we're looking like $165,000, $166,000 for the year. So, you know, we don't have an accurate operation budget for the building, and we're going to occupy, and now we're looking at another $700,000 to $800,000. Where's the money coming from?
Well, I know that some of the things that need to be done at the facility first to move in, such as locks on doors, stuff like that, that could be considered facility improvements and come out of special use sales tax. However, that comes out of the special use sales tax money that we had set aside to improve City Hall. So, I mean, it's not like we can spend that money on 3 different things. We've got to choose what we spend it on. The $150,000 for relocation costs, I don't see anywhere else for that to come out of except for the Memorial Hall tax credits. Which, if we also use that to fund the shortfall on the operating expenses for the building, that money's going to disappear very quickly.
Well, it already is, because we budgeted 265, and we're going to need to put another 60 to 70,000 for utilities. If we were off that much on electric, you know, what about fire alarm, HVAC control contractor, extermination was budgeted 500 a year for 84,000 square feet. You know, we've still, you know, we've spent all of our historic tax credit money now.
There is money available from Mercy, 500,000 for capital improvements. So what we have to do is just get it approved. I don't know if their 500,000 will cover that apparatus bay. I think it would make sense to go get that money. But once again, that money has also been considered in the proposals that have been put before the commission, and that will have to be then adjusted appropriately when given to the Citizens Committee to look at. It's not a pretty scenario.
I'll say it's ugly.
I think we're saying the same thing, just in different words. It's
Yeah,
But what are the alternatives?
I know. But we got to pay bills too.
It's very concerning.
So we're proposing to put up a temporary structure, is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, for the bays, the fire bays.
I don't even know what that looks like. A temporary metal building?
It's similar to a metal building. They come in, they set it up, and then they'll tear it out when we get through with it.
Oh. So we're building a building just to take it down?
Just to take care of something that may not use.
Well then, is there a temporary dispatch center available?
That's what we're talking about with the mobile home that works as that.
Well, you know, I don't know. If we're going to look, we want to look at all options. One of the county commissioners talked about central 911. Is there a way with the computers that we look at combining? Is Coffeyville putting in new dispatch with their proposed project?
No, I don't think so.
You know, if we got to relocate, is there a way to bring more people involved to make a system that would cut our costs and be more long-term? Because if we're going to temporarily relocate to there and then have our committee and facilitator work and something else comes up, then we're spending a lot of money to move it around. Is there a way we could hold our costs down in a temporary dispatch for a little longer term?
I think, Mickey, what the commission needs to know is the 911 board was here. I am a member of the 911 board, and our new system is coming in February. They saw the situation, and so they are bringing our brand new system in within 30 days. We are not moving the old system. We are getting our brand new equipment. It will be NG 911 compatible, which takes care of all the social media. We currently run 8 911 lines out of the Independence Center. If you talk about consolidation, I was a part of those committees, and there was no consensus, Leonard, in the county, because it's a $9 to $12 to $14 million project, and nobody has that $3 to $4 million apiece to put together to centralize it. Coffeyville does have a plan. They are building a new thing, but they want to maintain their center. Part of the deal we did a year ago when all that fell apart is Independence and Coffeyville went together to set up the county in their center with some money, and we have a great system set forth. But we are the primary system. We run 8 lines. That's why it's important to have a trailer here. Coffeyville only has 4 lines. We have a total of 12 911 lines in the county. So when we go down, it's okay probably on a temporary basis to be down for a short period of time. But our center is a busy center. We handle all the cell traffic. That is not going away. Coffeyville will not take on any cell traffic till in 19 or 2020 is when they think they may go to the NG 911 Till then, Independence has it. This was confirmed. The 911 board was with Coffeyville this last week. So some of the cost is the brand-new equipment out of the 911 funds going into this. So, I mean, it's brand-new state-of-the-art
And that equipment can be moved back to City Hall.
Yes. The reason they're doing that is our old equipment, the warranty has went out. That's why we're getting the new equipment. The warranty's gone. You don't want to move it. It's a $20,000 expense to move it. Why pay that? We don't want to pay $20,000 to move equipment. We'll just get the brand new equipment installed. And they bumped a bunch of people out of the way to get us done in 30 days. I mean, they're moving mountains at the state level to accomplish this after they saw the situation we were in. And we did not call them. They were just there to do their field inspection related to the February install when all this happened last week that you're aware of.
So it's going to be set up in a temporary trailer long term?
No, the trailer is coming in immediately so that we can evacuate our 911 people will work out of it's not a trailer, it is a Winnebago center. And they will be housed in that. We will continue to maintain the 8 911 lines and be able to do all the traffic that we're doing while the state of Kansas brings the new equipment in and gets it installed. It's an intranet. The new 911 system works on an intranet by the state of Kansas. That'll all be installed. Again, we have that $100,000 backbone that allowed us to do this. Without the resources available in Building D, that $100,000 backbone, this is a 6-month project to even, by having that backbone that we're utilizing, this is being accomplished in about, September 12th, the system goes on, they do the training, September 27th, we are live on the brand new system. I mean, that is, huge. So that's kind of what's going on, but there's a lot of different pieces in the county but that is how the system works.
So we're not really being presented with a lot of options, basically one, it sounds like.
Yes, sir.
No place else we can find in town that will take our emergency vehicles. I mean, we don't have any empty buildings around town that would help.
No, temporarily. We did. We researched it. To build the network backbone we need to sustain is $50,000. That just puts the network backbone in place to be able to do the things that we do at City Hall.
That's a lot less than the $800,000 we're being told, though.
Well, you got different components of that. Garaging, which I think we should be able to go to Mercy and get that covered. That's a part of that. Have them check in that $225,000.
Wait, I thought it was $500,000.
It was $500,000.
For garaging, no, it's not. It's $225,000.
They've committed $500,000. However, only $225,000 is the estimated cost for that building that we think they will pay for. We don't know how much they'll pay for this other stuff.
I was just saying cover the garage. You can go after the other two.
I didn't realize it was that restricted.
No, I'm just saying.
It just has to meet with their approval in the contract. Is what it says, and I know that there have been times where Mercy has been a bit difficult to get their approval.
Anyway, there's $500,000 there. If they'll give it to us, that covers a majority of the expense. But there's just different items that we have to do to get people into that building, and we're not remodeling anything. We're not changing anything. We're just sitting there till you guys can tell us what you want to do. Getting our people safe.
So the transition of service would be uninterrupted so that public safety's not.
We are not interrupted. 911 at no time will be interrupted. We'll continue to maintain the 12 lines in the county, all the porting and the different things. Remember, the new system is an intranet. What we currently run on now is a copper line system. So that system just stays in place till the intranet from the state of Kansas is put in, and then that system goes live. So we will not compromise our public safety as far as the 911 center goes. I know this is staggering. I can tell you staff is weary. We did not want to have to come here tonight. This is there has not been a lot of sleep for the last 14 days.
Any questions, gentlemen? Still in shock?
Well, yeah.
We gotta put, the employees have to be in an environment that's not gonna put their health at risk. And that's one thing we have to do.
And I agree with that 100%.
The problem is money. The cost to do it, particularly for a temporary garage. Even if Mercy gives us $250,000 for a temporary facility, it's going to be gone because
sir.
the temporary facility
I agree
is
with you.
temporary. So no matter what the solution,
Yes.
in the end, we're going to lose $250,000 to whatever
Yes.
would be done. And, you know, the apparatus bays, I wish there was a solution to work with relocating fire EMS to an open facility that could be used for temporary housing to cut that $250,000 out of the budget.
So you say within 2 weeks, staff will be able to get out of the building?
Yes, we will have dispatch in the trailer. I believe Jerry will have that accomplished by Wednesday or Thursday. We'll have the basement cleared out by Friday, and then we will work to transition the other floors out and operational by the 16th.
Okay.
Well, Jen, you have your work cut out for you. Welcome back. Okay, so
Yeah, and one question with using the special use money, deferred maintenance means maintenance wasn't done and it needs to be done. This isn't deferred maintenance to remodel the space for a new use. And then by taking our deferred maintenance money all here, it makes our deferred maintenance of deferred maintenance even more deferred and more critical on having the money because, you know, we got a little hole and they will take the money to fix it. We ended up with a bigger hole to take more money to fix our tuck pointing and our other areas, our roofs and whatever. So, you know, I would hope that I'll even bring a box of sharp pencils if that'll help you find other areas to get it. I just am concerned with taking the deferred money on deferred maintenance money and ignoring our deferred maintenance.
And I mean, that's my concern. We're putting together a committee and we're going to give that committee an even graver picture than you gentlemen had because we're now taking money out of it because we have to do this move. I mean, that committee's going to have a lot weighing on them.
And yeah, we got to get the figures established on our operations so we can have.
Well, the first thing we have to do,
accurate data.
and cost is an issue, but the first thing we have to do is take care of our people. Get them out, get that taken care of. And then I have confidence staff's going to put together a feasible plan for us financially that, I mean, it's going to hurt, there's no question. And we can go from there.
Do we need a motion on this or just
We need a
consensus?
motion to authorize the direct us to proceed.
Do you, and I'm not sure, does the motion need to include the authority to go to Mercy to get that 500,000?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say we would see to get how much of it we can.
I think the motion should include something that we come back with a projected budget, itemized, you know, some way that we're aware of what it's going to cost, where's the money coming from, and Mercy is a source for some of the money. It'd be great to take all 500,000, and then we only got 300 to come up with. But I think our motion should include something addressing the funds from Mercy, and also report to the commission the projected budget and sources of funding for the work.
So could you say all that one more time?
Sure. I would make a motion that we authorize the temporary relocation of city facilities from City Hall to Building D, and the staff provide cost analysis to the commission, source of funding, and approach Mercy on receipt of their $500,000 gift.
Okay with that? You want to second it, Fred? You want me
Second.
to? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Or oh me.
3-0 on that one. Wow. Okay. Item N. Consider a revised proposal from PEC for professional services for proposed work at Memorial Hall.
I'm getting really tired of following all these daunting agenda items. It just seems like last time and this time.
Yes, you're right.
At the last meeting, the commission directed us to go back to PEC to get the just the scope revised for just those items that needed to be done right away, which was the lighting console and the auditorium, and then the frequencies that are going to be discontinued. We have done that. It dropped their proposal for their work to $4,600, and then the auditorium upgrades to $23,000, and the Civic Center wireless the $3,500. And they advised me that if we can get this approved and get it going, that we can go ahead and try to get this. He felt very confident that we were able to get this done before Neowalla. We're concerned that we're going to have a problem with that lighting console, and we certainly don't want to have a problem with the play. And that would be funded from quality of life that can only be used at the 3 facilities. It's not allowed to be used anywhere other than the pool, the library, and this building. And so now I just need direction on what you guys would like to do.
So I'm still not clear. We're hoping to do the study right away and then do the work.
He advised if we were going to go ahead and authorize the proposal, that he will put everything together, we'll go out to bid, and that he felt confident that we would have this lighting console in before the play and the training. He says it's very easy to use. It's the same type console they have at the high school where they redid theirs, and it's kind of universal. The one that they have now, only one person in town can even operate it, and the company has gone out of business, so there's nobody to support it any longer, and that's our concern.
And we have money budgeted?
Well, the quality of life funds, there are money's there. It doesn't come out of it's money that's sitting there that was left over from that special sales tax.
Fred, any thoughts?
I don't have much of an appetite to talk about spending a lot of money. I'm candid.
No, I don't either.
And I know it needs to be done, but
You do have the funds available in the Quality of Life Fund to pay for this. I'm thankful that it's a lot cheaper than what was initially presented, because that is one of those funds that's not renewing. But we worked the numbers to put it in the budget if you would like to do that.
How much will be left in the Quality of Life Fund after this?
At the end of 2016, the estimated balance is $138,921.
without this in it or with this
That
in it?
includes this in there.
138,000?
Yes. Last year, we spent about 70,000 on all of the locations that are under this. And if we were to spend that again in 2017, at the end of that year, we would have 73,000 going forward into 2018. So it would look like they would run out in 2018, assuming no more large expenses come through. This year we've had the pool have an expense with the filter, and that was pretty expensive. That wasn't.
I kind of look at the quality of life fund as a source for maintenance of those 3 projects, looking at the reason we're needing to do something with the lighting and the microphones. Those do come close since the controls are obsolete and they are an issue. It's not a desire that we just want to upgrade, but
Yeah,
it is a need that could be, it doesn't take the pain away, because we got to face how are we going to handle maintenance of those facilities once this account is gone. But it does come under more of a maintenance. Some of the other items that we'd like to do, it's not as much maintenance as this. So,
and this is what we directed staff to do for us at the last meeting, and it's not going to get any cheaper if we don't do it now.
It's about $30,000.
See, it'd be,
It was like 31,100.
Yeah, it's going to, yeah.
Okay, you guys want to move forward with it?
how do you feel?
In shock.
Yeah.
I have no idea how we're going to pay for the last item we talked about,
That's-
so
Doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. Pays too good here.
Is the lighting
The,
console, it's not adding anything beyond what we do now, am I right? Or
No, they took the smart lights out and put those in another phase. That was only enhancement they were adding to the lighting, and so they're not, this does not include that. It's
Well-
just replacing that console.
is the 4,600 is for their design, their specs, and bidding, and their services. We go ahead and do that, but in the 23,000, are there options that we could do an alternate to cut it, or is it pretty much dead on?
I had him
23?
cut it as much as he thought that he could to do what we had to do, and then move everything else out.
Okay.
this
The
is the bare
2000
That's what I directed him to do.
Is that the 2018? Is that what that budget is?
Yeah, that has the smart lights in the auditorium,
new projector.
the new projector for that room and this room, and all of that in there. It's all been pushed into 2018.
All right, well, I'm going to move that we approve the proposal from PEC for professional services for proposed work at Memorial Hall.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. O, consider setting the date of August 11th, 2016 at 5:30 PM for a public hearing to consider the revised 2016 and proposed 2017 budget. I think I'm going to be sick that night.
We've already talked about it
Yeah.
ad nauseum. So I'd make a motion that we set the date of August 11th, 2016 at 5:30 for the hearing to consider the revised 2016 and proposed 2017 budgets.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Thanks, Jen, for that. P. Just give it up, Aaron. We're not giving you a penny. Forget it.
Oh, boy. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
I bet you wish you'd come way earlier on the agenda now.
Well,
You should have asked a bit first.
yeah.
He did.
I did. It was requested 9, but, yeah, so even though I will not be there, as director, the Montgomery County Action Council is hosting their annual legislative golf tournament on October 7th here in Independence at the Country Club. Really, it's morphed from really a fundraiser into a networking legislative event and networking event for people across the county to meet each other, spend an afternoon or a morning playing golf, that sort of thing. So usually we do see the numbers pick up, the number of legislators in attendance will pick up in an election year. We do typically also mix up the teams. So, you know, often with tournaments, someone will do a team of 4 and they try to go win. We usually, by handicap, will end organizations, communities represented, try to mix up the teams. And we typically usually we have about a full course, at least a 4-man team on each hole, so probably 70, 80 people. Could be higher this year with, like I said, with the election coming up. All legislators are basically invited to attend for free, so their cost really with the sponsorships, what that does is it allows for those elected legislators to come and interact with their constituents free of charge, and then vice versa for the local communities to be able to do so as well. So,
and this is your 15th time to do it, it says.
Yes, 15th annual. And you know, there's sponsorship levels. We send this out to all of our members and supporters, everybody on our list. So, wide range of sponsorship available. You can consider those, and you know, if you want to have someone represent the city, actually play golf, that's fine. You know, there's levels at that, or they can register and just play with the actual entry fee. So we also allow with the sponsors them to have a booth out on the course if they want to, you know, disseminate information, meet with each of the groups as they come around. So,
well, while he's here, I'd like to publicly acknowledge the great assistance that Aaron's been for us in the time he's been at MAC.
Thank you
very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now we're going to fire you for quitting. Have you started the new job?
Nope, next week.
Next
so.
week. Congratulations on that.
Yep.
We're going to miss you. Any great candidates?
We are still taking and reviewing, so I would say...
I know you can't be replaced, but...
Well, and we've got some in. The executive committee will be working through the rehire process, has already begun on that.
Right.
So,
great.
You know, and I'll be available to assist, you know, in a volunteer capacity so that we don't have any projects fall through the cracks.
Yeah,
so.
good. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, let's not beat this one to death. How do you feel about it?
What have we done in
I might suggest, after the way the meeting's gone tonight, the beverage cart sponsor would be
That
appropriate.
was what I was thinking.
Actually,
With a little donation can.
that is what they have done, and the level they have done in the past years when they have done it, was the beverage cart level.
And honestly, the beverage cart sponsor, if a staff member or someone, you know, commissioner wants to drive it that day, you know, you get to.
Is it a designated driver position?
It's on the private property of the course. I don't know what Jerry would say about that, but you can have it over a cliff. You can have a good time.
So how much is that?
$250.
You guys okay with that?
I mean,
Speak up now.
Yeah.
Okay. I move that we
We just
sponsor.
spent $800,000. What's $250?
$250. You know,
Mine comes with drinks.
That's exactly. I mean, $250 on $800,000.
Yeah.
It's $250.
Don't get flippant with me.
Yeah, and a beverage cart seems
Beverage
so
cart just for
appropriate.
us.
Absolutely.
Do you
Because
have
there's
to
going to be a
golf to
lot
visit
of
the
people
beverage
going
cart?
to the beverage cart.
So I move that we sponsor the beverage cart at the MAC Golf Tournament on October 7th, 2016.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck
for
to you,
everything.
Aaron.